broadcast studio, hitting in the static. This ain't no bedtime story, son, it's prophetic. Encrypted signals from the shadows of the garden. We dig where the dirt got secrets, no parting. Microphone alchemist, scriptures with a twist. Peep the frequency, seeds in the mist. We drop bars like plagues, revelations in the cadence. Broadcasting truth while they trapped in surveillance. Wisdom with a watchman's blade. Fourth watch style while your whole system fade. Blood moons, Nephilim, echoes in the pine. Sasquatch stomping through the fault lines of time. We ain't mainstream, we ancient stream. Cipher with the prophets, decode the dream. So if you tuned in, better guard your mind. It's broadcasting seeds and we breaking the design. Yeah, straight from the broadcast studio, hidden in the static.
All right, Ricky,
What's going on, man?
Tell us who you are and what you do, and where can we find you?
Absolutely. So, who am I? I am a mysterious voice behind the microphone. Nah. I am one of the hosts of the Christian Theological Dark Web podcast. We explore, my co-host and myself, who will be on shortly, as it were. We explore really just the things that the church doesn't want to talk about. We try and really bring those to the forefront for a lot of reasons, man. We try to bring those to the forefront because the word tells us to clearly expose our enemies for who they are and what they are, and the farces that they run, the rackets that they run, run. And yeah, man, frankly, we're called to really point those things out and have the church be aware of what the heck's actually going on. So that's super important to us. We really focus a lot on the divine counsel. That's a huge deal to us. We even have behind the paywall. Our paywall is super. It's like $3 a month or something.
Yeah,
but we have
is it even a paywall?
Yeah, it's hardly a paywall. Like if you want to sign up, go do that. But we have obviously episodes come out a little early. Every once in a while, we'll have an episode that's off the books. But really, it's focused on the Divine Counsel worldview devotional. So we actually have like a devotional, like a biblical devotional that's focused around the Divine Counsel and why that's important and how that plays out in our life and how we should live. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So that's where we're at. You can find us at really any podcasting platform that you like. We're on YouTube as well. Just like you and I are here, we do video podcasting as well as audio. You can find us anywhere. You'll notice my subtitle at the bottom there is the Polyglot Dragon. There's a whole explanation about that. We can get into that in a little bit. But I studied linguistics in college. I'm a Spanish interpreter by trade. I speak like 4 different languages. I don't use them all for work, but I speak them. Just enough to be dangerous with some of them, right? And yeah, man, you can find us anywhere. We're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on
what's your favorite place to go? Like what's the best place to interact?
I gotta be honest, dude. I think for anybody that takes what they're doing seriously and professionally at this point, in my opinion, really is Instagram. That's really what's kicking up the dirt, and it's moving people in really interesting ways and connecting people, which is essentially actually what social media was designed to do, and rarely does. So I really do like Instagram. I think it's probably the least hostile and probably the outlet where you can most be taken seriously, in my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I mean, X is its own thing, and then Facebook, dude, is just like, what? It doesn't make any sense. But either way,
it's kind of the bottom feeder of all the social media.
Something ain't right on Facebook. So
yeah, well, Zuckerberg turning into a lizard and all that good stuff. So
right,
there's
all
that.
that fun stuff. So so wait, all right. So this is the question I ask everybody.
Yeah, man.
Comes on.
Shoot it.
Is what got you into this world of and I say high strangeness because
that's what it is.
All of it kind of, it revolves around that, whether it's you're into cryptids or Christian theology or all the things. Who would ever think that would be a thing, right?
It's awesome.
Combination between
I love it, dude.
And I do too. I think it's amazing.
It's awesome.
But who would ever think even 10 years ago, that's not a thing, bro.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even like like a thing of a thing, bro. It wasn't even like
Right.
a meta thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did I get on this journey? Man, COVID, bro. COVID is what sent me down this
Yeah.
rabbit hole. Like I've, I guess I'll give you a little bit of background so you can kind of understand where I come from. Shelly and I both have stories that we were kind of outcast individuals growing up. I was into, well, I just didn't fit in general. You know, the, I was not born into wealth at all. My family was pretty meager as far as income goes. We were low middle class, real low middle class, you know, just kind of eking by. Enough to live in a city, but not really to do anything for the most part. And so I really grew up, man, frustrated, not fitting in, couldn't buy the clothes I want, couldn't, you know, I just couldn't make those connections ever. And when I was about 13, 12, I just got into metal, dude. It just spoke to me. It spoke to me deeply. And I was like, okay, this actually makes sense. To make the long story short, right? And I felt that there was a spiritual power there. Like I just felt drawn to it. And so that kind of was what fueled me. I was super goth growing up through high school and middle school. I mean, like the whole 9 yards, man. Like I would paint my face like all decked out sometimes.
Right.
I was the full deal. I wasn't really into, but I mean, I was always a Christian. Like it just didn't, for me, it just didn't make any sense, bro. It just didn't make any. I was just like, yeah, I mean, I get all the other religions. I get it. Like I get it. My only qualm with all this stuff was like, well, but why does my religion seem to suck? I would go to church and I'm like, yeah, I know this is the truth, but why does it suck? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I would look at stuff like Hinduism and Buddhism, and I would look at other religions, and I was just like, dude, there's so much like activity here. There's so much spiritual power going on. And then I come to church and like, you have to understand, dude, I grew up in a cessationist church. So like they didn't believe in any of the miracles or anything. And I was just like, I wanted to like claw my eyeballs out, you know, when I was a kid. And then I started listening to metal. So I was like, you know, the devil's playground, according to everybody in my church.
Right. Right.
And yeah, dude. So I guess that was kind of my whole thing. I actually formed a band in Mexico. I lived in Mexico for about 5 years. We used our band to share the gospel, just straight hardcore metal stuff like that.
Yep.
And it was around the time, yeah, just right around COVID, man, that God just kind of, I just was discontented with what I was seeing. You know, I was already like kind of jaded by a lot of stuff. I was in the medical industry actually when COVID went down. I was an interpreter in hospital, full time.
Wow.
And so I was making the COVID rounds, dude, that I was talking to patients with doctors and like, you know, yeah, I was right there. I was right in the thick of it, man. And not too long after, you know, they took us out of the hospitals because it was insane. And, you know, I don't even have to explain all that. But I ended up, then I ended up getting fired, bro, because I refused to take the shot. I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, cancel me if you want, kick me out, do what you want. And they did. And I said, all right, sounds good. And miraculously, anyway, I mean, miraculously, God provided, like literally the next day, they called me from this other company, started making a ton more money, yada, yada, yada. The rest is history. I mean, I could get into that all day. But to answer your question appropriately, it was really that. And there was one, Shelly, actually, my co-host, she was the one that shared a particular preacher. And I'm not much for listening to preachings. I don't really care for that. It's never interested in me, honestly, like ever. But she sent me one by this dude whose name I always forget, but he's a Kiwi. He's he's transplanted over here to the US and he's a missionary here in California. And I'll never forget that preaching. It was all about whose patent is in your DNA. And it was, you know, started out as a simple thing about how, you know, the chemical makeup of our DNA spells out the name Jehovah, right? Yeah, Yahweh, right? And so I just kept kind of brooding on this and brooding on this and brooding on this until it kind of just came to a head. And I don't remember how I came across the Nephilim, and it just started to all make sense in my brain. And I was like, wait, why have I never read any of this stuff or understood any of it? Like, what is going on, dude? I've always been fascinated by that kind of stuff. But way back when, I read a Tom Horn book about cloning and all this kind of crazy crap. And I read it and I was like, I don't understand any of this stuff. And I just kind of put it on the back burner. And then now looking back, I was like, oh man, I picked that book up again and I was like, oh dude, I get all of it. All of it makes sense now. It's all bing.
Yeah.
Dude, to put it as light as I can, it literally changed my paradigm forever. Like I can't see anything the same way. I literally was giving an intro to the youth at our church about the divine council yesterday. It's like a huge blessing, bro, to be able to be like, here's the torch, kids. Take this, run with it, understand your enemy, know who you face. So I hope that answers your question, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then just to transition and like, so, all right. So it's not something I talk a lot about. I have definitely done my research and I will be talking about it more often here coming up, but so explain to folks that don't know, what is the divine council? What is that?
A crazy concept that messes up your Christian theology if you've ever
I
been
know.
a modern normal
It kind of makes your head explode a little bit, but
Christian.
that's what I like doing on the show. So
Yes, as you should, my man. That's the way to go with it. So the divine council, to try and sum it up as easy as possible, is essentially what most pagans would refer to as the pantheon, right? I mean, just to make it, just to kind of give it some more familiarity in language and in kind of common parlance. It's essentially the pantheon, right? And Yahweh is at the top of it. He is the divine ruler, but you're going to see Zeus or you're going to see some other figure at the top of that pantheon in other cultures, right? Because he was the one that was calling the shots. Well, to kind of break it down, the reason we know this exists is, first of all, dude, first person I hope to talk to when I leave this earth is Michael Heiser, so he can like educate the crap out of me, dude, to be like, yeah, I probably won't need it at that point. I'll just be like, oh, dude, I know you. Michael talked about you. I remember you, I'll be saying all these guys. But to make it, a short explanation is in Deuteronomy 32, and there's something called the Deuteronomy 32 worldview, which essentially says that that God, according to the sons of man, took the sons of God and apportioned them to the layout of the earth. In other words, he said, all right, these people are in these places. You guys, the sons of God, and that's important. That's really, really important to understand that they're sons of God, not sons of man, because that's us, right? Obviously.
Yes.
They were given the nations. They were supposed to rule over those nations. Now, that's already messing people's theology up because they're like, but there's only one God. I'm like, well, I mean, yes, but no, simultaneously, because we get stuck on stuff because we misunderstand Hebrew. We just misunderstand words in the Bible. And so everybody's like, well, Elohim, I mean, that means God. He's 3 in 1. I'm like, yeah, I mean, none of my theology on that stuff changes. I'm still right there with you. The issue is that God is the one that calls all those creatures and those beings Elohim, right? He's the one that calls them gods. And that's just a plural for gods. That's all that means. Yeah. But you can,
and we call them little g gods.
Yeah. So people don't freak out, so you're not like losing your poo, so to speak, right? Like,
right. Absolutely.
But that doesn't make them any less deified. And people have a problem with that. When I'm like, well, sorry, then, like Heiser always said, I'm sick of trying to protect people from their Bible. Read it for what it is, man. It's one of my major beefs with most people is that they want to read their life into the Bible. I'm like, dude, the Bible was not written to you, homeboy. Like, it was written.
Yeah, everyone tries to humanize the Bible, and
correct.
It's not written for us. It's not about us. It's about God.
It's really not. And the divine council is a recalibrating of your understanding of reality, because it takes the focus off of humanity and places it squarely back on God. It makes you realize, just like cryptids do, just like the UFO phenomena does, just like all those things do, it takes the central focus off of humans, and it points it back to a spiritual war, which is exactly where we're at. And that's really my contention with people, is because they're like, well, but God fights for, I'm like, yeah, but dude, like, under what context? Like, what are we talking about? If you don't know if you don't know your enemy, how are you going to fight him? How are you going to wake up and go to battle? If you don't understand that when the word tells us stuff like watchers, the reason those guys are called watchers is because they never slumber. These guys don't sleep. They're constantly on the move. They're constantly strategizing, either for or against us, depending on which side they fight for, right? And so really, that is a kind of an explanation. Now, there's all sorts of other stuff we can delve into, but that's really what the divine council itself is. It's an understanding that God is at the top of the hierarchy, and he has governors, essentially, under him.
So I want to blow people out of the water for one quick second, too. Touch. Is that Adam and Eve were on the divine council.
Oh, man. They were, right? Dude.
So
they were.
People are like, wait, what? Yes. Before the
fall. Yeah.
They were on the divine council. They were part of the divine council.
They were. And to be even more specific, I'm glad you said that. I don't want to trip people up too much, but we'll keep it as
face.
Let's keep them as centered as we can. I won't go too far down that rabbit hole because it gets deep.
It does.
But Adam is essentially a representative. He was a representative of Earth. He was the caretaker of Eden, and he was his. How do we say it? Sorry, dude, my Spanish interferes sometimes. His su encargo, his what God entrusted him with was for him to go to the rest of the earth and subdue it appropriately. He was a priest farmer. That's what the dude was. He was a king priest farmer. That was his job. And so he essentially had to report back his duties to the rest of the heavenly council. Hey, this is how this is going. We need to work on this and blah, blah, blah. And people are going to get super offended by this too, because that means that God didn't make everything perfect, and he did that on purpose. That will probably make you angry.
He didn't name everything. He didn't do all these. Like, this is one of Adam's first jobs, was to name all the animals.
Yep.
Like this is something that people don't read in the Bible. Like, it's there. It's right there.
Yeah, in your face.
People don't think about it. They don't read it. Like, he was the steward.
Yep.
He was given dominion over earth, period.
Dominion. That's the word. Yeah. That's the exact word. It's
and that's
funny.
A heavy word.
It is, man. It's funny because the word in Spanish, you'll love this, dude. So the word is mayordomo, which literally means the major over the dominion. That's literally what it means.
Right.
I mean, that was his calling, right? So he was to be that steward. And it does trip people up because people are like, but wait, doesn't that by definition make him an Elohim as well? Yeah. With certain qualifications, it does. I'm not talking about, the divine spark and all that. I mean, I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm talking specifically about definitionally, what are we? God tells us that we will judge angels. Well, we ain't going to judge angels unless we get to sit on the council. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? I mean, that's
seriously. And some people can't get past that, like, and then they understand why fallen are angry. It's like, well,
yeah, I'd be pissed too, man.
But whatever. I mean, we're just different. That's it.
Yeah.
And Adam was made from different stuff. Part of it was the same, but part of it was different. So
absolutely,
because technically the sons of God, right, are more celestial. They're more, what would you call it?
You called it, actually, honestly, you used a perfect word. I mean, the word says that when the fallen, the watchers, whoever you want to call them, right, sons of God, when they descended, that they left their proper estate or their proper dominion. They decided to forfeit that, right, and went derelict. I mean, that's what they did. Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. It does mess people up, and that's okay. I mean, it took me a hot minute to be like I had to take this stuff in prayer, dude. Personally, I was like, am I insane? Is this insane? What does this even mean? Like, giants roaming the earth? Like, that sounds ridiculous. It does if you're just like looking at it out of your face value. Of course it does. But I mean, one of our contentions as well, Bennett, is that there's historical precedent for this, man. This is not like, in fact, the majority of history favors what we're saying right now. It really does, both pagan and not, right?
Oh, yeah.
These guys were walking around Egypt. They were walking around Canaan. They were walking around all parts of the Mediterranean, all over the earth, frankly. I mean, we could go deep into that. They're all over the freaking place. They left their footprints everywhere, no pun intended. It's the Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
So it actually makes more sense if you look at it this way. And I mean, I could take you guys literally to the Bible where we see instances of giants in Egypt still roaming around, still hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
And there's historical precedent outside of the Bible too. I mean, you can look at Josephus. Josephus talks about the display of King Og's bones in his bed on display in Rome in, what was it, 200 AD, I think it was, right around that time, or a little bit before, after. I can't remember when he lived, but yeah, man, there's precedent for it.
You have stuff that's not biblical. I
Right.
mean, just all the other, again, like you brought up the fact that pagans would call it the pantheon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But beyond that, all these other cultures' mythology, it's kind of a roadmap to a lot of the stuff. I mean,
It really is.
So many of them are comparable and or just have different names and different, in different languages.
Different
And
strokes for different
folks, right?
Yeah.
Like, like there's guys like Baal and Thor are probably the same entity,
More than likely.
So I mean, yeah. So anyway, one of the questions that I've really been tangling with, and I want to see your take on it.
Yeah, man.
Is who, and I'll preface this with, because Satan is a job title, not a name.
Absolutely.
The Hasatan, whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer is just a amalgamation of an Italian name, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a stand-in.
The devil is also something different as well. It's another stand-in. So so who, as I like to call him the enemy.
Yeah.
Who do you think, or do you have any insight possibly on who the enemy is? Because the reason I say this is because names have power.
Absolutely.
As we know. And this is a name that is not, it's as if it's like Voldemort, like the name that will not be said or whatever. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
So I want to know if you have insight on who possibly. I think that the enemy has been named. I just think that we don't particularly know exactly who it is.
You're speaking my language, bro. Like I said, I'm a linguist, and so by studies and it's almost by trade, right? Not quite, but I find the best roadmaps for me are etymological.
Yeah,
when you follow it back to its source, you follow the trail back to its source, you tend to find a lot of explanation for a lot of these things. So I'm going to preface with what you just said about, I think he has a name, but I think that we don't know what it is. I think that is so spot on, and I'm going to tell you why. I was just thinking about this. I was literally thinking about this yesterday, no joke. Before I get to who I think he is, I'm going to answer that first. So I also agree with you that we do not know his name. I don't think we know his name, because to know a name gives authority over something. However, to know a name can also invoke something.
True story.
Right? Okay, so it's a double-edged sword. And I think that I almost think, well, this might sound funny, but I almost think it's God's kind of sadistic humor, to be honest.
I really don't disagree with that.
Because he's like, all right, we won't give him their name. We're not going to give him his name. We're not going to give the humans his name. Let's give him a fighting chance. We'll see what he can do. I think that that's why we don't actually have his real name, and we have nothing more than his title. In fact, if you look at a lot of this stuff, dude, most of these creatures are not named. They're kind of what will we call it? They're kind of species explained versus actually being named, right? We don't get much of an individuality. I know that that's a very Western way of thinking. We like to have this very, like, you have a name, and that name is, but names are, I could go on about this forever, dude. We had a whole podcast about names, but names are interesting because in other cultures, you got multiple names. And your name corresponded to what you did, and your name corresponded to what your service was. I mean, that's what last names were, right? I mean, when your name was Smith, it's because you were some sort of blacksmith, or you were some sort of, you built stuff. You worked with your hands. There was a reason. Or Mason, right? You worked with stone. So that's, people knew how to identify you, and that's where a lot of last names came from. Not all of them, but a good amount. And so I think for that reason, we probably don't have that. And I would say, I think that God has given us the titles because they're enough. I don't think we even need any more. And I think that we might let it go. In fact, I'm positive we would let it go to our head. I mean, do you guys see how the psychos that practice magic currently are? Can you imagine if they knew, like, the deep, intimate things that they're, maybe some of them are privy to, but I sure as can think, I don't think God would want to give that information up.
Well, readily. No, I even think that a lot of the names that we do, let's just say names of demons and entities and sons fallen and whatnot.
Because we do have a bunch, right?
Most of them also do, though. They come from the occult side of things.
Yep.
And those are the most exhaustive lists.
Yes.
Right? Yep. If you want to even go there.
Right. Well, and no, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I didn't mean to.
No, that's all I was going to say is, again, and it's like, I guess you have to, in your brain kind of go is that, can you handle that knowledge? This is a discernment, right? This is what can you actually handle?
Yeah. No, that's
why are you trying to find the knowledge? Because
Yep.
knowledge got us in trouble once before. The search of knowledge got us
several times,
kind of in trouble.
Several times. It's always the rabbit hole, man.
Right. So,
Bennett, we did an episode real recently, dude, and it's something that was on my mind and my heart for a really long time, and it's called "They Were Deceived as Well." And what I'm alluding to with that statement is that what is Christ's kingdom based on? It's based on love. Our order is to love one another, which is an extremely difficult and almost annoying thing to do a lot of times, right? It's really difficult. It's really, really difficult. And it's usually not usually, I won't say that, but it's a lot of times it's not fun.
Yeah.
But one thing that's interesting about love is that it has an exponential quality. So when you display love, it like messes people's paradigm up, dude, like big time. They are baffled by it, especially when you're faced with a lot of hate, And I mean, we're living in a time where hate's kind of a hot commodity at the moment.
It's definitely currency.
Yeah.
Outrage and hate.
I mean, it really is actually currency. We talk about loosh if you want to. But by the same token, deception is the contrary exponential number. It grows just like the way love does for God's kingdom. So deception grows with the enemy's kingdom. Enemies, IES apostrophe, multiple enemies to be clear. And so they themselves are like mafia bosses. And they are deceiving each other, and they deceive themselves even. They believe their own stuff, right? Like they believe that they're legit, and then they believe that they're going to get this, and they believe the other. So they themselves deceive one another, and we all know that, right? We all kind of, oh yeah, generally we're like, oh yeah, makes sense, sure. But what we don't think about is that they deceive themselves. Like they legit believe this stuff, right? And so if they're as willing to believe that what they're piddling is the truth, deceiving themselves. What makes you think that the names that they give to the occult are legit even their names? They're probably just giving you some moniker. They're probably just giving you some like tiny smidget of what their actual name is, because I don't think that most of us could even handle it. I really don't. Like, I don't think we were even made to handle it in this fallen state. I mean, if you think about Moses, dude basically almost got like radiation poisoning and died because, you know, God showed up and showed him like a portion of his back.
Yeah, like a smidge.
Yeah. And so I really think, man, to answer that portion, I don't think we probably have most of the names correct. I think that it's a modus operandi, the way that they give us those names. It's probably like, okay, you're going to do the little dance. You do the little ritual. Cool. I'll give you this little title and you go pretend like you're invoking me. And then you say, I don't know, we'll say Azazel, right? Everybody knows Azazel. You say Azazel and, oh yes, how can I serve you, master? Right? Like they really want us to believe like we're going to serve them. It's like, please, bro, we're not, we're kidding ourselves if we think that what we're getting is legit. And I don't think, unless God gives it to us, that there's even any reason for us to truly have to need that. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. Let me answer your question about Lucifer now. Lucy Lou, as I like to call him. To be honest, man, there's a really interesting verse in the Bible that says that, well, first of all, let's break down what Lucifer is, right? Lucifer means light bearer, and Hasatan means I guess the closest thing to a name is Hillel ben Shakur, right?
Yeah.
He's the son of the morning, which is where we get light bringer and all that stuff. That's about as close as we're going to get, I think, at least biblically speaking. But there's a really interesting verse about him because he's the accuser. That's his other name, the Satan, right? The Satan. He's the accuser of the brethren. Well, it alludes to, and it's kind of skipping my mind right now. I can't remember where that verse is at, but it says like Isaiah. Is it Isaiah? When we finally get to see him bare and naked, it'll be like, this dude, this is the guy that we were like up sleepless nights, like wasting our time. Like, it'll be like a joke. And I'll be honest, dude, now that I'm really thinking about it, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that when we are changed in an instant and we assume our new glorious bodies, because everybody thinks that we're going to turn into spirits. They like this whole Gnostic idea, and that's wrong. We get new bodies, and we get bodies, and they're going to be physical. We could go down that rabbit hole too. But when we get those bodies, I think compared to seeing this lowly rat, which is what he's going to look like, we're going to be like, dude, you traded what you had for your current appearance, your current power, your current ability. And that's not to say that what he does and what he sends against us and who he conspires with doesn't affect us. Of course it affects us. We're here in the world. We're in a fallen state, reclaiming as much ground as we can. But once we're on the other side of glory, dude, it's going to be like night and day. It's going to be nothing alike. And we're going to see this guy and be like, this freaking rat. Now, yeah, I think who he is. So we actually did a breakdown of this about who the fallen watchers were and where the rebellions came. And I think it's important. And I think we know enough for us to have, at least the basic pieces of the puzzle. I was talking to a friend yesterday. There's stuff that sometimes you go back and you read in the Bible and you're like, wait, what? I missed all of that. Just kind of like the Nephilim, right? But if you look at, I always forget how to say it in Hebrew. Anybody that's a actual biblical reader is going to like crucify me right now, dude. But the very first phrase in the Bible, which is in the beginning, in the beginning, it talks about essentially that God creates the heavens and the earth, but that translation is really wrong. How does it go? In the beginning, God created the earth, and the earth was formless and void. That portion right there, that formless and void is wonky. It's a really bad translation. And what it actually means is while God was in the process of forming the heavens and the earth, They were in chaos and they were in disarray. Now, that, without trying to go too long down a rabbit hole, what we understand from those words in the Hebrew, or we can at least make the case that the world was in this state after a war,
Right.
that there had already been a war.
Agreed.
So we have rebellion number one before humans even were, right? We don't know what happened. We don't know who was here before us. We don't know if there was other humanoid type. I mean, you can go into that if you want to. It's very interesting, and I could go down that rabbit hole. But to keep on the path of who Hasatan is, we'll say that's rebellion number one. Rebellion number two, I don't actually, although it was the fall of mankind, I'm not convinced that Satan was the same one that was in the garden. I'm not convinced that it was him.
I don't think it was.
I think that it could have been. I mean, it's possible.
It's possible, of course, but
right. But I don't think. Now, there's a theory, and I will bring this up. There's a theory that he was actually the one that was given Earth as his dominion. And if that's actually the case, and he was dethroned because Isaiah talks about the five I wills, right? I will ascend to the high heavens. I will take the throne. I will take the seat above all the other gods, basically, right? I will be that one. Well, if we assume that that's actually that originally he had been given Earth and it was stripped from him, then the whole fight between our seed and his seed makes way more sense, because he's trying to reclaim what was stripped away from him. And then we, the new rightful heirs, in this understanding, right? I'm not saying this is, don't call me and say, oh my God, you're butchering it. No, I'm not trying to butcher the Bible. I'm just giving you a theory about how we can interpret what the word says itself. If there was already this war, he was dethroned, he was deposed, and God's like, all right, I'm going to put Adam in the divine council and on the earth. He's going to steward the earth. He's going to take care of it. He's going to grow the earth. He's going to, so on and so forth. The devil's going to be pissed, dude. He's going to be pissed. He's like, what do you mean I lost my place? I mean, that's where I was. And here's another thing to think about, bro. This is what I think about a lot. So the ancients thought of the stars and the planets and any heavenly body. They thought of those as the gods themselves. Now, I don't necessarily think that they believe that they were 100% the gods. I think it's probably something closer to like, this God is in charge of X, Y, or Z star. This God is in charge of this X, Y, or Z planet, right? So if Satan really was the one that was in charge, the one, we'll have to give him a title, right? We don't have a better one. If Hasatan was really the one in charge of this world, this earth, the one where humanity was placed, then you're basically left with no home. You're homeless.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how infuriating that must be? I mean, I would hate any species that came to dominate what was originally rightfully mine, right? So we have rebellion number one, rebellion number two, which is the fall of man, but I would stick with the celestial one. Number two, I would say, is the Watchers, right? And then you have, or somewhere in there, and then you have Satan himself, who, if he really did have the deed and title to the earth and lost it, that's easily rebellion number three, easily. Now, I'm sure there's probably many more, and I'm sure if we keep digging through scriptures, we'll find them. But those are the three we know for sure. We absolutely know for sure happened. Like, they absolutely happened, right? There was a pre-world argument, right? There was Watchers descending. We have Genesis 6, and we can just stick to the Bible. We don't even got to use external sources. Just stick into the Bible. And then third, we have the rebellion of Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably who he is, dude. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I've been really digging into Semyaza and what he represents and what
Shemi.
Right. But at the end of the day, the reason I come up with him too is to an extent is, well, he was in essence the leader of the Watchers. Right?
Yep.
He's the only one that didn't it doesn't seem as though he wed anyone.
Mm.
And he's the one, he never gave any knowledge to anyone.
Interesting.
Everyone else
in the text, I get you.
Everyone else in the text married.
Yeah.
Right.
Loosely.
But I'm just saying, I think it was definitely a bargain.
Yeah,
I think it was
certainly.
definitely a deal.
Certainly.
It wasn't
a dowry, right? I mean,
it
that's
wasn't,
essentially what
right.
it was.
And then that knowledge, so many of these watchers had, and this is where the little g gods, to an extent, some of them may come from too, is because they were given, and they were the god of,
X, Y, or Z.
X, Y, or Z, war and this and that.
Yep.
And it's like, we know some of the names of the sons of God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who gave the knowledge, the Prometheus of whatever,
The Promethean fire. Absolutely, man.
So that type of thing. Semyaza, though, you can't find it anywhere where he ever.
That's very interesting.
Mated himself, or I say mated, but he, it doesn't. It's
didn't
not
procreate.
It's not
in other words,
didn't
didn't
procreate.
take a wife.
Maybe he did, but
yeah.
I'm just saying it's not brought up, and or he's not the father of any of these this knowledge.
You mentioned something really interesting just now. That's very interesting. I got to go back and read the text now and think about it. Something that comes to mind though is there is a guy. His name is Troy. Is it Troy Brewer? He's on the confessionals a while ago. He's a pastor here in Texas. I don't know what part of Texas he's in, but really cool guy. Really cool guy. I could listen to that dude all day. He saw Nephilim in real life, dude, in Mexico, and he tells the story about wild, crazy stuff.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I'm sure you've probably seen him at some point. Anyway, he if I'm not mistaken, it was him that he had gone down to Brazil with some other people, and they were in a small village, and they went to this woman's home, and she was freaking out. She's like, "You guys, you can't pray for me. You got to get out of here. You can't be here. He's going to come for me, and he's going to kill me. He's going to kill me." And they were like, "What?" Like they were trying to chat with her through the interpreter. And so she says, "Satan is my husband. He's going to come and he's going to have his way with me, and you can't be here because I'll be devoured. I'll be destroyed." And long story short, I mean, she totally gets radically set free, like radically liberated, radically saved, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff you can imagine. But the interesting part is that there was continual copulation, for lack of a better word, between this entity who called himself Satan and this woman. And she was the one that called himself Satan. Now, again, we could look at that like, well, that's the name he gave her, right? But I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I mean, I've heard SAR, right? Or was it SRA? Sorry. Hasatan ritual abuse, we'll just call it, right? So I don't get you flagged with anything. And people talk about literally like the face of the devil, like appearing when they're being taken advantage of. I don't want to be too graphic, it's pretty gruesome and gross, but I think that could just as easily be any one of these dudes. I really do.
No, for sure. And it's like, it's one of those things
it's an interesting question.
I'm dabbling into it just because it's like, why not? I mean, because I look at so much of it's shielded or hidden behind a veil that it's like, I plus, I'm a military guy. I like to know who my enemy is. So
that's exactly right, man.
But at the end of the day, I kind of look at it as like, enemies. I like the idea of it's not necessarily one entity. They're all kind of
in cahoots. Yeah, man. Is she on? Woohoo! Hey.
Took a little bit. Hi.
That's all good. I kept the mic warm for you. Don't worry.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Oh my goodness.
We were just actually, she probably has some really good thoughts on this, dude. We were just talking about who Satan is, and I broke down the three incursions or three rebellions. Watchers, pre-world, and then Satan. I was just mentioning how I think it's unlikely that he was in the garden with Adam and Eve. It was probably somebody else, to be honest. But your thoughts? Who do you think Satan is? That's what Bennett's asking.
I do think that that devil, the old serpent of old, is Halil. Isaiah's
The one from the garden?
Isaiah's description of his fall says that he was in the congregation of the holy ones. I'm trying to open up my Bible app and go to, I think it's Isaiah 14, right?
Shelly knows a word real good, dude, so she's going to put me to shame here in like 2 seconds. So,
Isaiah, I think it's 14, starting around verse 12. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Sorry,
yeah,
guys.
Will's right.
Yeah. How did you fall from the heavens, morning star, son of the dawn? That's Halil ben Sakhar. I never say it correctly.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of us.
I'm telling you. How did you come to be
All of us
cut
Hebrew
to the
scholars.
ground, conqueror of nations? You thought to yourself, I will scale the heavens. I will raise my thrones above God's stars. I'll sit in the mount of the assembly, far away in the north. I will rise past the tops of the cloud. I will make myself like the Most High. But instead, you're brought down to Sheol, to the uttermost depths of the pit. Those who see you will stare at you, reflecting on what has become of you. Is this version says man? Is this the one who shook the earth, who made kingdoms tremble? Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to see where it talks about he walked amongst the fiery stones. Is that?
Oh, yeah.
That's not
that's
in
Ezekiel,
Isaiah. I
Shel.
think that is in Ezekiel.
Yeah, it's Ezekiel.
The visions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just went through, me and another gentleman, I don't know if you've ever talked to him. Adam Ferris is his name.
Huh.
He's the author of Five Stones, which is right behind me.
Right. Oh, cool,
It's
man.
a graphic novel, actually. But
oh, cool.
That's why I know that name.
Yeah, so him and I were talking about Ezekiel, and well, because we were talking about Nephilim and
Ezekiel's
as one
good
does.
place.
Nephilim in all the forms, right?
Right.
So like
The
not
Watchers.
just but beyond that, even like how do because one of our big conversations, this is like the third time I've had him on, but we talk about lion men, all the different forms of men and
hybrid
beasts.
creatures, right? Yeah.
So we were talking about in Ezekiel how in that the one he digs through the wall and comes into that room with and I can't remember the guy's name. He was standing in the center of this gathering of 70 what they called ancients.
Giant plaza. Yep.
And
why am I missing the story? I don't think I'm familiar with the story.
So he dug through. I'm trying to see where it's at. Let's see. It's in Ezekiel, prophetic book. He dug through a wall. I don't know it enough to go into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into
it's pretty compelling, and I can't remember the guy's name, but his father was a scribe, and I can't remember. Yeah, I wish I hadn't gone down the road. But either way, there's these what are called the translation is 70 ancients surrounding this guy. And what we think is actually happening is this is when you say 70 ancients, what does that mean?
Well, what comes to mind for me is precisely the sons of God allotted to earth.
That's exactly where I would have gone.
That's exactly what it is.
Deuteronomy 32:18.
Yeah. Or representatives of.
Certainly.
Right. They're ambassadors.
Those nations, right?
Yeah. And And it,
So, and all their various forms. And it
yeah,
talks about, they all were carrying, I can't remember if it's like incense or something. There was definitely a ceremony of some sort going on.
I'm trying to remember. I know what you're thinking of. There's because there's something that's similar to that in Revelation, but that's the prayers of the saints. But I know what you're talking about. I do know what you're talking about.
I'm just broadcasting seeds.
Bam! Somebody's gonna pick it up. Somebody's gonna pick it up.
So maybe another episode we can go down that
That's
rabbit.
super interesting. I would
Absolutely.
very much like to learn more about
So-
that.
So Shelley, tell us who you are and what you do. Like, you're obviously a part of this podcast,
Right?
Right, but give us a little of your background so the listeners know.
Can be entertained.
Yeah.
I am old, or older than the average podcaster.
Oh my, actually. So
It's hard for me to say who I am. It's much easier to, I think, describe what I am.
oh, there you go. Get
So
after it.
I've been a believer since I was 6. I love the Word of God, so I'm pretty well versed with the Bible. So when you were talking about that 70, I was like, wait a minute, I read Ezekiel on my own a lot of times. How did I miss this? But I'll be really honest too. Like everybody else, I grew up in the church, and like most people who grew up in the church, I was a product of our materialistic postmodern worldview, and
Right.
I did not see much supernatural in the Word, and so maybe I just need to go and read this now that I am very well aware of the supernatural in the Word and in the world. Let's see. I have done a lot of things. I am currently a grandma, which is the best thing ever. I'm a mom. I'm the actually gal at my church, and my pastor had the privilege on Sunday of proving me wrong on video, which doesn't happen very often, but it made him very, very happy. I mistakenly said that Isaiah was written just a couple hundred years before Jesus' birth, which was so wrong. I know better. I know that there were 400 years of almost complete silence. That right there should have had my brain better engaged. But anyhow, I am a wife, a mom, a dog owner. You will probably hear from these dogs at some point or another because they're never quiet. I have multiple cats in my office as we speak right now.
A literal menagerie.
I do. It's true. I'm very much circle of life person. I enjoy animals. I do. I like nothing more than to go outside and touch grass. I was born weird, have always been weird. All my friends are like, "No, you're not weird." I'm like, "Oh, I am, and it's okay. I have embraced it.
Behind their
Y'all
back.
should too." Yeah. I was working, which is why I'm late. So sorry, guys. I've been in trainings all week long, and
Ivan, don't sweat
and
it. You're
still
you're
have my
adding to
workload.
flavor.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to make people wait. I really thought we were on for 7 my time, so most
my bad.
humble
Sorry about that.
apologies.
Zero worries. Zero.
I don't know, nothing really special about me, except that I am strange and I know a lot of things.
It's kind of like from
Hey.
Game of Thrones, right?
If you if you smoked some sort of thing that made you high, then you would be high strangeness. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
This guy.
Everyone's gonna hate me, dude. Everyone's gonna hate me. I know.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest one on this podcast, and I'm like the most freaking old man dad jokes like ever, man.
Dad jokes are way underrated. I love them.
They
I
are.
do.
Some dad jokes are great.
Most.
So I found the passage, guys.
Oh, dude,
it's
read it.
Ezekiel 8, 7 through 12. And the KJV, obviously, there's different translations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I'll just read it just so you can get just the beginning, and I'll plant the seed, and then we can go, people can go, and I don't know enough about it, but you'll hear about it if you listen to the podcast that I did with Adam, which will
Check it
come
out.
out.
That's cool,
and
man.
I'll actually send it to you guys.
Please.
So
yeah, do
that
it.
would be great.
All right. So and he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now on the wall. And when I had digged, I looked in the wall, behold a door. And he said unto me, Go in and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things and abominable beasts, and all the idols of the house of Israel. And now, see, this is the part that throws people off, is I think people just think it's a hall with stuff painted on the walls. And I think it goes beyond that. So, but either way, portrayed on the wall round about, right? The idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about. So that's true. But what about the abominable beasts? I'm just saying,
Right.
it's again, it's translation's a slippery slope sometimes, right? And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. Now, KJV says of the house of Israel. Other versions do not.
Looking at the
ESV?
No, the CJB, and it says 70 of the leading men of the house of Israel, but we all know the son of Seth view, or the Sethite view.
With every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Now, what they don't talk about too is that in one of the versions, there's a guy in the middle of them all. And I don't remember that, but again,
this is definitely worth digging into.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes on a little bit, but it's kind of, to me, like the possibility of making of these things.
Well,
who knows?
Going into what seems to be maybe a meeting of, and there they are weeping for Tammuz, of course. A meeting of watchers.
Yeah.
Could be, man.
Maybe.
You mentioned something right there, Ben. We can totally explore this another time, but I think this kind of goes back to the divine counsel, which I said, we're very keen on. I think I just read this not that long ago, from a friend of ours, and I don't want to name drop, because if I do, then I might get in trouble. I'll have to wait, but off camera, I'll tell you guys who it is, and you'll be like, of course. But this individual, when I was reading their book, says that the word for idol in Hebrew is not a noun. It's an adjective. And that should mess you the crap up, because if it's an adjective,
change things a lot.
Yeah, well, it's a stand-in, right? Because the actual thing is not the idol. It's the idleness of it. And I don't mean like, idle hands. I mean like the idle aspect of it.
DOL,
and that
not DLE.
Weird. Right? Yeah, idleness, right? And so when you say that about these, everybody has this, and everybody will look at like the one psalm where it says that these things made of silver and gold, they don't speak, they don't hear, they don't blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, that's actually the figurative part, because they're talking about something else. Like they're doing that. The psalmist is doing that on purpose. And it's what you just said. It's that there is a living aspect to this stuff. I mean, dude, it's not for nothing that scrying is a thing. It's not for nothing that stones speak to people. It's not for, I mean, this stuff happens, and these are substitutive methods for creatures that don't have bodies or can't really get to bodies appropriately to try and communicate things to humans or cause mayhem or whatever you want to call it, dude. I mean, that's what this stuff is, dude. And so, and I mean, I won't go down that rabbit hole, but that's what the black screens on monitors are, man. It's the same kind of thing. You know, they're all made out of the same stuff, silica. They're all made out of the same freaking stuff, which I won't go down that rabbit hole.
I was thinking about broadcasting as
there you go.
as I was logging in here. I was like, oh, that's what we're doing. We're casting on a broad scale. And like, it's so much of the clues are just right there in plain sight. And we're like, okay.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Yeah. So you guys just had Vicky Joy Anderson on,
right? We probably actually like several months ago, but I'm so behind on putting stuff out, dude, that it just dropped. Yeah.
She's pretty awesome.
She's fantastic.
She's really, really good researcher. She's a really good researcher, dude. She's amazing.
She's one of my favorite episodes that I've had. So
you had her on?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
She was great for sure. What about Ed Mabry? Have you ever had him on?
Ooh, I know that name. Is he the one? I know he was on. Is he the one you sent me show with?
Gosh, don't ask me questions
podcast?
like that. I send you so many things.
Nephilim Death Squad for he did Revelations like 21 weeks. Went through all of Revelation on Nephilim Death Squad.
Oh no, but I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's cool.
Pretty good. So if you like those guys, that's pretty cool. And he's actually they're doing Genesis right now.
It's really cool.
But he is I don't know if he'd even consider himself a scholar. He's definitely knows his Bible.
Yeah.
And he does his channel's called Faith by Reason. If you go to his website, it's legit.
That's cool.
So I'm just bringing him up because, you know, it's down your guys' alley.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
No, absolutely.
So basically, is your part of your tagline confronting behemoths?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe we should take this moment to kind of explain some of the weird language that we use around our podcast.
No, because that's what I was going to ask. Because like in
the behemoth
Christian culture,
in the room.
How do you define those behemoths today?
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Oof.
Well, we weren't even looking so much towards figurative elephants in the room, if you will, or behemoths in the room. But talking about the real ones, because if you ever read the book of Job, it leaves you, it leaves you tired because it is so poetic. It is hideous. Man, it's, we've read it out loud, and
wasn't it all, let's be honest, wasn't the Old Testament written as Jewish poetry?
Yeah,
right. So there's this rhymey kind of yes. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. I would agree with you too. I love that word.
Yeah. Doesn't have to say much. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, no. Right. The interpretation. Yeah.
Probably a crock of crap is what that is. Must have been a Mexican.
I mean, Ricky and I, before you got here, Shelley, Ricky and I were talking about before Genesis a little bit. And yeah,
69.
and I think the average was like 7 to 8, right? So yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, right. Right.
There's a cryptid
I have one
in
too that
Shelley's
does the
house.
same thing.
And there's a cryptid in your house. There it is.
Start hearing knocking noises.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or a hippo, yeah.
Right? Especially the elephant. Mhm.
Yep. Right.
Feel the thunder.
Yeah. Right.
I th- I think that that's such a tendency, though, man, of humans is like when you feel like I always phrase it this way, right? So we all have a paradigm that we kind of stand on, and it's a big high tower. And if you've built it so high that if anybody moves one of the stones, that your entire tower paradigm is going to fall down, you are ruthless in defending that tower. You will defend it at all costs. And I think that that kind of response, that knee jerk response, it was a hippopotamus, it was an elephant, right? Like, I think that that's what that is. I think that that's like your house of cards falling apart. And I think it's a prideful man thing. I think it's a prideful human thing because, like we were talking about a little while ago, Bennett, when I came face to face with the fact that my Bible was not boring and that it was full of crazy, crazy crap that I was just like, I don't even know what to make about some of these stories anymore. Um, it, it shattered. I mean, it shattered my paradigm. It shattered it, dude. And I'm happy
Yes.
it did. I'm so happy that happened.
So
But
much cooler through a supernatural type lens,
it
man.
makes so much more sense, and I think that it's stupid of us to make those kind of comments when one, there's not really any precedent for it, right? Like you don't really have any other thing that's lying around. Well, yeah, everyone just always talks about behemoths, right? God always mentions behemoths over and over. No,
Right.
he doesn't. There's no other place in the Bible I can think of where there's the word behemoth, right? That's not a thing. And so, exactly. And so it's like, okay. And I was literally actually now to name drop. I was talking to Vicky the other day and we were chatting and she says, and I told her I think it's ridiculous that we think of ancient humans as Neanderthals. Like we think that they were they were like mentally unstable or mentally incapable of reasoning, right? Like, I'm like, really? Right. But megaliths, exactly. And she said, you know, I agree. And we started going over some passages in the Bible, and she's like, what if this passage is wrong, right? And we've gotten it all wrong because we read it wrong, and all of history would have to be rewritten because we read it wrong, right? And here's my thing, man. We're not humble enough to say I can be wrong. That's why I love my podcast. That's why I like doing what I'm doing. It's a ministry where I can say all the time, I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, that's okay. Like, I'm not telling you I have all the answers. I'm doing my best with what I've got, right?
Yeah, right.
And I think that's probably our biggest contention for both of us. Like, I don't have anybody coming on and spouting their ideas and everything. I'm like, can you back it biblically? If you can do it, then that's what I'm interested in. You know, I'm there for it. It's cool. I can speculate all day and I love doing it, but I want to make sure at the end of the day that what I'm saying actually, like, there's actually some backing for it, because especially Genesis 1-6, those stories are so ancient that to just assume you know everything is absurd. It's so absurd. It's like, well, you know, they built a tower. They built a tower in a valley to reach the heavens. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, come on, dude. Do you know anything? Do you think that ancient people didn't know about building techniques? Like, oh, they couldn't tell that the mountain was higher than the valley. They built it there for a reason, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's stuff like that where we interpret ancient data and we're just like, oh, I'm just going to put this through the modern filter, postmodern lens and see what happens, right? You know, and it's ridiculous. You get ridiculous answers. I did want to tell you one thing. I think we never really get to this, but we always should. There's a reason that you ever notice that we call ourselves Four Dragons? Have you ever seen that? We haven't posted it in a while, but there is a word in Chinese that no longer is in use. And this is just to kind of give you guys some flavor of who we are. It's literally the character. Yeah. Just a little bit of sprinkles on top. Did you say kimchi cakes? Oh my gosh. That sounds delicious, actually. So there's a word in Chinese where it's literally, and just for anybody who doesn't know any Chinese at all, that's okay. You don't have to. Obviously, we're in here in the West. It's pretty uncommon. But every word is called a character, or at least every building block is called a character. Okay, for those that don't know. And there's a character for dragon, which is long. And when you write long out or dragon, if you do it in a square 4 times, this is actually a pretty cool biblical thing, which is kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The word for dragon, written 4 times as a single character, which is now out of use, mind you, again, is the word that means verbose. It means you talk too much. So I had a professor in college when I took Chinese. Yes, I took Chinese in college. I know that's a wild thing to do, but she would talk at length about, ancient Chinese culture, ideas, and concepts. Well, she always, being Chinese herself and speaking Mandarin, growing up with Mandarin and everything, but growing up here in the States, she would always say when somebody was like full of hot air, like between friends, and they were just like, they wouldn't shut up, they would just be like, oh, it's freaking 4 dragons. It's freaking 4 dragons. It's freaking 4 dragons. And so that became our thing. We talk so much that we're the 4 Dragon podcast.
4 dragons.
Yeah, man. So anytime you have somebody like that's spouting off, just be like in the back of your mind, it's freaking 4 dragons, dude. It's what's these 4 dragons would shut their pie holes.
4 damn dragons.
That's
sounds like a t-shirt to me.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do, especially the Chinese characters. Just do 4 of them.
I think we should redo that though. That's really good. 4 friggin' dragons. That's what I'm gonna make a shirt that says 4 friggin' dragons. Yeah. And so, yeah, man. So that's kind of our gig. That's kind of our thing. I don't know. Nothing else comes to mind though.
I like it. It's cool. Definitely cool.
It's a unique thing.
So, so I like to use words. I don't know. I guess it's like looking ahead, right?
Mhm.
Not to use behemoths again, but I got it. Looking ahead, what
The
new,
elephant in the room.
what new behemoths or social taboos do you guys plan to address, like in your podcast?
You want to shoot?
Coming up?
Do you want me to go first? I can think of 14,000 right off the top of my head, man. One of the ones that I'm particularly interested in, bro, is the ether. Shelley knows that I can hands down talk all day about the ether because I'm shameless self plug. I'm writing about the ether right now. I think that's one thing I've been talking about for a while. It is the light matrix that literally derives from God himself and that he provides and makes everything work. It is the non-existence that comes into what we call the physical existence, which I would say is, a topic for another day, but I love that idea. Not only do I love that idea, I find so much validity in the rest of reality through that idea that it's one of those things that I could literally sit and talk about all day. There's tons of evidence for it. There's so much evidence for it.
So do you guys know who Brad Lale is?
That sounds familiar.
The Awaken podcast.
No, I'm gonna.
You should have a conversation with him about the ether.
Let's do it. Yeah. The Awakened podcast. I'm gonna check it out.
The Awakened podcast. Yeah, he's big into the ether. Like we were talking about plasma clouds and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
He probably has good feedback for me, man, because it's a newer concept for. I mean, it's not really a newer concept for me. It's just when you stumble onto the validity of it, it just blows you away.
Now that I bring it up, I feel like, didn't you guys do something with 33rd parallel?
No, we did. Are you thinking of the alchemy thing?
I don't remember. His big
sensory, yeah.
Well, that's the 6th century. That's Tim Constantine, right?
Yeah. What a name, geez.
He's a great dude.
He's really knowledgeable, man.
Yeah, he is. But so Brad, his initial thing was the 33rd parallel and all the crazy stuff that happens on the 33rd. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Would have to be, right?
That's what it was. Ley lines. Yeah, you guys have done some stuff on ley lines.
A little bit. Of esotericism almost instantaneously, right? Agreed.
Well, it's all energy.
Yeah. Right. It's all light. It's all light. All of it. Even the opaque stuff is light, which is super bizarre to us.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I guess some other, if you think of anything, Shell, please chime in. Shelly and I have been wanting to talk about AI, obviously, for a long time. And that's something that it just seeps its way into our conversations, but we've not really dug our teeth into it because we have a lot to say, but it just kind of hasn't been on the research side very much.
Yeah, it's something you get harness as well. Yeah.
Well, yep. And to that point, actually coming back to the ether, but sticking with the AI theme, I think I said this on the episode with Vicky, actually, just the one I just released, is that I actually believe that what the AI is kind of like the demonic powers or the dark powers nestled on a portion of the ether, and they're feeding all of the what we would call the quantum energy or the quantum information into our realm, siphoning that power from the ether and winding it into what we use into our technology so that they can communicate with us. I don't necessarily think that all of it's all bad. I mean, you can use it for whatever you need to use it, right? The ether works for anyone. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I think that that's where they're setting up shop right now. And I think that that's their portal inward. They're using like a, I don't know how to say it. They're just, they're a marauding camp and they're just hanging out there trying to find any way that they can filter a portal through. And I think that that's what
for
they're doing.
Definitely use. I think it's a tool for them.
Yeah. What were you saying, Bennett?
I'm just saying, I'm sure it's a tool for them, for the enemy.
Certainly.
But I think it could be a tool for us as well.
Sure.
For sure, considering what we're doing, right?
Right.
So, for people to say that it's completely demonically controlled, I think is naive. I think it's just, it's another creation, or not a creation, but another tool to use in the battle.
The repertoire. Yes, sir. Go, Sean. Right.
It was just ludicrous. No, they're just sitting like next to me, hanging out, and they're just watching. We don't do anything. We just watch. Yeah, right. Exactly. We don't actually intercede for you at all.
Right.
We don't, or right.
We talked about this one, didn't we? Just a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Morsel.
That's the point. You can't create anything. You can't
Right.
do, again, he can just use things just like we can.
Right.
They might have some sort of power or supernatural, preternatural thing going on, but at the end of the day, what? Sure.
Well, it was a long way down that mountain. That's all I can say.
Right.
Long way. Right. I think it's really funny too. And this is actually something I'd like to explore. I think it's really interesting is that all of these foes of ours So what I actually believe, this is actually what I believe. I think that the devil believes that his end game is to kill God. I think that that's what he's trying to do. I think, yeah. And if you destroy the character of God, you destroy God, right? Because if you make him out to be a liar, then he no longer is the being that he claims to be. And so I think that that's the devil's ultimate end game. I think that that's his final trump card and his final play. But what's funny to me about that, and I've been thinking about it ever since I thought about the light matrix, I was like, dude, you're trying to fight the author of the light matrix on the light matrix with the light matrix. It's not gonna work, dude. There's no way. Light, right? Right.
No. But it's like, I spent a bunch of time in the military. Just think of it, and it doesn't need to be because I'm a soldier or whatever.
No, I don't want to hear it.
Everyone's watched the movie.
Perspectives are always really
watched the movie, right? Everyone's seen a war movie.
Yeah.
And if you are running across the battlefield, killing the enemy, and you're still running, and you run out of bullets, and you pick up the enemy's weapon, you can still kill the enemy with their own weapon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So stop. I get so mad.
That's good, man.
With in the spiritual warfare, I'm in it, man. I'm all in. I mean, like right now, just to give clarity to folks, we're fighting with one of my daughters. We are fighting a spiritual war, not her and I, but her and I together against something. I have also had, if you guys know anything about my background, I had a prolonged, pretty good battle with a Lilith type character.
Oh,
wow. A succubus, whatever you want to say, demon. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I don't know. But all I do know is that this entity was vulnerable to the name of Jesus. I can tell you that.
Yes, sir.
And all of those tools, everything from holy water to anointing oil, right? I mean, I even have a damn roller ball full of anointing oil and frankincense. It's you know what I mean? Like the essential oils rolling ball. Well, this has got anointing oil and frankincense in it. So bring it. I'm just saying, you got to use the tools that are at hand, within reason and discernment.
Sure.
Right. Knowing what you can control and what you can't. The biggest case of control is Solomon. He thought he could control it all, but he couldn't, period. So I'm just saying, I don't know where I was even going with this.
I think you were talking about, how the enemy, uses tools. And so because they use,
and I feel like if you're telling me not to use AI, because it's from the devil, maybe you're character suspect. Maybe you are
holding
influenced. Yeah, why can't I pick up the hammer? Right. It's not like Thor's hammer that I can't lift. Right. Yep.
Poor internet.
It's almost like a religion there.
Yeah. It really is, dude. It's wild. Wait, I think, did we lose her? Shelly. Well, I guess she'll log back on. I was gonna say, man. Sorry. Were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of my bones to pick, I think it's for both of us, but it's really for me. One of my bones to pick with people is that people assume that that the physical doesn't have anything to do with the spiritual, and the spiritual doesn't have to do anything with the physical. They think that those are two separate categories. And I mean, if you see a cryptid at any point in your life, you know that those categories are so unbelievably blurry and so unbelievably intertwined that it's absurd to try and say anything else. And so when I see you with your holy water and I see you with your anointing oil, it's funny. I raised this with a friend of mine a while back at church. I go to an evangelical church and everything for where we go. I did not grow up like that. That was not my cup of tea when I was growing up. I wish it were.
I did not either. So.
Really? Yeah. And so
my dad was a pastor in theory, but it might as well have been a mail order pastor. Even though he had his degrees and stuff, it might as well have been like
don't mean
Universal
nothing,
Life Church I'm a pastor of the Universal Life Church, so I could marry somebody, right? So you know what I'm saying?
He's a Las Vegas preacher. No, I'm kidding. Exactly. But I get you. I get you, man. So I mean, I felt like everything spiritual that had anything to do with anything was stifled when I was growing up, and so that's why I go to an evangelical church now. But if I'm being honest, dude, like Catholics with their sacraments and all the stuff, I mean, there's really stuff to be said about that. I'm not telling you to be super woo-woo and you have to freak out from everything. I mean, we've been given dominion and power and authority. Like all those things are true. And simultaneously, spirits can inhabit objects. Like, let's just call it what it is, right? Like if they want to inhabit our bodies, what makes you think that they wouldn't at least accept a subpar version, which is why I was talking about the rocks, which is why I was talking about, the mirrors. That's where you're talking about scrying. I mean, it's a very common thing. In fact, I just learned the other day, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that where scrying actually came from was when Enochian was being downloaded to, good night, I'm going to forget these two guys' name, but they were in I think it was in England, a priest type figure who was very into esoteric things for the purpose of, glorifying God. Like that was his whole thing. But he kind of got in working with this kind of shady character. I can't remember these guys' names. I'm sorry, man.
Was it like Crowley? It wasn't Aleister Crowley or
it was like 1500s.
So this is way back.
Yeah.
And I probably know who you're talking. I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember.
I mean, neither here nor there. You guys can look it up if you want to. I mean, it's here we go. John D and Edward Kelly. That's
John D. That's it. John D. For sure. And Edward. Yeah.
And so when where was I going with this? Oh yeah. Turns out that when he received supposedly the stone from, I want to say it was Raphael, I think was the one that gave him the stone, and that stone was used for scrying because, what's his name again? Edward Kelly would use that stone to get downloads supposedly from these angels, right? From these, and then he would write out all the script. I have some choice thoughts about that, which I think that there's some validity, and I also think that there's some intentional deception in that whole thing, which is most stuff, to be honest. But nonetheless, like that is a complete spiritual download into the physical. It's a direct translation into the physical. And I, for the life of me, cannot understand why modern Christianity refuses to acknowledge that the door swings both ways. I'm just like, what makes you think it wouldn't, right? Like, if things can come here, why can't we send things there? I mean, we see portals at megaliths, and
we say it all the time, though. Stuff. Why our prayers? It seems as though sometimes prayer has more power when it's said out loud,
right?
Not necessarily, but it depends, right? It's not just because when
it's circumstantial.
I mean, God spoke this entire thing into existence, and at the end of the day, what happens here happens there, and what happens there can happen here.
Right.
So it's all, and what does it all come down to? It all comes down to energy, vibration.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all energy is. That's all light is vibration.
Exactly. It's exactly
right?
what it is. I mean,
So-
light is vibration,
So your
light.
words have power. I mean,
Absolutely. They
I
absolutely
mean,
do.
when I talk into a mic and I do it in a certain way,
Mhm.
people can feel it as
Right.
much as they can hear it
Right. Right.
because of the way my voice works. So telling me it doesn't have power. Of course it does.
It's wild.
So
Yeah. So, I mean, those will be some of the topics that we continue to push forward, but new topics. I mean, shoot, Nazism is like one of those things that
Oh,
we've
yeah.
been wanting to dig
Ooh.
into deep for a while.
that gets wacky, but it's cool.
Really, really does, man. Man, I'm trying to think, Bennett, some of the topics that we've had on our mind for a while, dude. Honestly, you know what, man? One of the things that that the Lord's been pressing on me is, keep researching the weird. I have no problem with that, but is really heavily focus on how to battle, on how to fight.
Yeah, I'm writing a book on spiritual warfare.
Are you really?
Right now. I mean, literally, what's funny is that I was gonna release it not that long ago. But
Oh.
Bo Kennedy,
Yeah.
released his book, which is great.
Beat
It's
you
a
to the punch
great
a little
book.
bit.
Mine's different.
Sure.
It's the same but yet different.
Yeah.
He beat me to the punch. I'm like, well, I can't release this.
Just give it a hot minute. Give it a hot minute.
I gotta give it a few months, and
Yeah.
what I'll probably do is release it when I go. Yeah, probably in the fall. But anyway, I'm getting stuff together because I take this stuff very seriously after my own instances, and then this stuff that I'm dealing with my daughter, and just people that I see. I don't have demonic panic or anything.
Sure.
Like the satanic
Panic. Yeah.
There is though. I had a guest yesterday who brought that up. There is a little flavor of demonic panic right now, in my opinion. I don't think all the things that people think are demons are actually demons.
Right. Well, it's a pendulum, right? Because
and I also think people think things are demons that are like that's all there is. No, wait, no.
Got to be centered, dude. I mean,
yeah. So
you can't be so heavenly minded that you're no earthly use, right?
You can't get tunnel vision.
Exactly.
And I refuse to play those games. So
not everything is a divine counsel. It's just not.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, and I look at like energy work, good, bad, all that stuff. Like people are like, no, you can't do Reiki. It's evil. And I'm like, bro, really? If I'm pulling the energy in the name of Jesus, how is that bad? Don't tell me it's bad. I'm not using symbols. I'm not using this. I'm not using that. I'm literally channeling the Holy Spirit.
I would like to hear this actually.
What I'm saying,
have you on and hear you talk about it, because I mean, I loosely knew Reiki, and I started looking some stuff up, and I was curious about, where it came from, and it's a fairly well, at least under its title, it's a fairly recent practice.
Yeah, from Japan.
Right.
But see, this is the thing. It's like calling angels angels. Angels that's not what they are. That's a job title.
I see what you're saying.
But it's the lack of a thing. So all energy work now is Reiki. And I feel like it does the energy comes from somewhere, right?
Sure. Well, it's the ether, bro.
It gives you let's stop limiting ourselves. Right? Because it's there. It's there in everything we do. Everything is made with it. Everything that surrounds us. Yada, 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 yada. Like ad nauseum. And if I can help somebody with that, it's not like I'm healing them. It's not me. I'm just a conduit.
That's interesting, man.
It's actually the person. I'm just helping to funnel it to them.
Right.
To use it. Right? To heal themselves or whatever. So, with that being said,
that's interesting, man.
I'm kind of running up against a stop here.
Yeah, you're good, man.
Because here it's almost 10 and I still got to pack.
Oh, dude. Yeah,
So-
no, well, let's
And I wish
bounce.
Shelly would have came back. It
I know,
was
what the heck?
great to see her, but it is what it is. We'll do this again. I can tell you
Oh,
shortly.
Oh, she's
soon.
literally calling me right now.
Oh yeah.
Let me just tell her real quick. Well, let me answer her actually. Okay. Hey, dude, what's up? You good?
Hey, no, I've totally lost my internet. Like, we cannot get it.
Oh wow.
We've got a lot of wind and storm over here,
Cool.
apparently.
Rebuke those
Power of the air.
as it were.
I like this is a prayer I say every time before I record.
Whoa, really, dude? That's cool. Shell, let me. We're about to finish up.
Tell her to we can hear her,
Right,
so
yeah,
tell
you
her
guys
to
go
say
ahead.
goodbye to everybody.
I'm sorry. I can't control you.
No, you're good. Why don't you sign off though and say goodbye, because we're just about to finish up anyway. So say hi and bye and whatever you want to sign off with.
Well, I can't even get online. So.
No, right here.
Oh
on
no,
the phone.
no,
We
I
can
hear you.
Well, okay. Well, God bless you guys. Shalom, shalom, Maranatha.
There we go. One of the things that Shell and I always say when we finish a podcast, she always says the Aaronic blessing, and then we finish with God bless, shalom, shalom, and Maranatha. And I mean that's kind of our calling card, man. Like, come Jesus, we're ready, man. We're ready when you are. All right, dude. Well, I'll let you go, and we're just gonna hop off, okay, Shell?
All right.
All right.
Bennett, we have to do this again, and
Yeah, we'll talk again soon.
He says we'll talk again soon. Yeah. All right.
It's a pleasure. I love you, man.
Love you too, buddy.
Bye.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me on, dude. Thanks for being patient. And
sure. Tell everybody where we can find you.
Yeah, man. Reach out to us at on. You can go on Facebook if you want. We actually have a huge following on Facebook, but we don't really do much on it at the moment because Facebook doesn't want to do anything for anyone at the moment. So whatever. You can find us there. You can find us principally on Instagram, but you can also find us on TikTok, on X. I think those are the main outlets, but you can watch us just about anywhere. I even had us on Rumble for a while, but it just seemed like kind of I was spitting in the wind and just like,
I get it. I'm so inconsistent with Rumble. So
it's hit or miss, dude.
It's just another thing to do.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm frankly thinking about getting just an AI to just post everywhere for me and just freaking blast it out there, you know?
There is something though. If you post on Rumble, it will post to YouTube as well. So
really?
Like you can go through Rumble to post on YouTube. I don't know how great that is though.
I was just saying, I don't know if that'll punish me, but it can't be more than they already are. I don't know.
You could check it out. So yeah, I mean, I know. Plant a seed before you go.
Absolutely, man. Prayer or just whatever comes to mind.
Whatever, man. Plant anything, like whether it's a life lesson or whatever.
Good stuff. But tell you what, yeah, I will plant a life lesson. My wife and I, for as long as I can remember, have had difficulties with income and stuff, and I feel compelled to tell you, wherever you are, I got this word yesterday from Vicky, actually, of all people. There you go. She said, you know what? Maybe the fact that you don't have access to stable work and stable income and stable this and stable that, remember that you live in a Babylonian system. You are supposed to ask for your daily bread. You know? I mean, that's what we're called here to do. Give me what I need for today, God. And I think that that's what we all need to remember, is we need to live in the moment, where we live in a society where we're constantly planning everything ahead. Live now. Plan for tomorrow so that you can live now. Don't waste time on the things that have no value in eternity, man. And I guess this is my last thought. One of the things besides Nephilim, Sons of God, and the Divine Council that has most changed my life, bro, is NDEs, near-death experiences. I call them post-death experiences, frankly. I've heard stories that have forever changed me as a human being by people that have gone into the presence of God, and you can call that whatever that place is that they go. But the point here is that they go, they come back, and what I think that what most impacts me, besides hearing all those crazy, awesome things, is that they say, I just don't really care about what's here anymore. It's just not as important to me as it used to be. Your family is, of course, but it's one guy described it like this. He says, it was like being put back in the sewer. Imagine what's on the other side, man. Imagine, and live your life that way. Live your life that way. Live your life every day thinking, what does this action mean for eternity? Good stuff, man.
So good to have you on, man.
Likewise, bro.
I'm sure we'll do it again soon.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Thank you for having me on, man. We appreciate it. It was really good stuff.
Brother.
And likewise, we'll have to have you on so we can, I'd like to hear your story and more about kind of everything.
You brought up NDEs.
I heard you on Biblical Hitmen. And I heard that you kind of shared a little bit about it, and I was like, oh,
yeah, I didn't have an NDE, but I've got stuff from it.
Yeah.
So
that's wild. That's wild. Hey, man, take what you get.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
All right, man. You too, bro.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And they bore unto them giants.
Like tablets from Sinai's mist, scrolls of Enoch encrypted in a shadow twist. Watch your blood dripping from celestial fists. Nephilim stomping earth, they ain't myths, they exist. Back in Genesis 6, the heavens fell hard, angels broke ranks, now the veils got scars. Took the daughters of man, now the bloodlines tainted. Hybrid beasts in the woods, faces unpainted. They taught war, metal, root cutting and charms, alchemy and death in the bronzed in arms. Azazel fell, bound in Dudgeon's pit, but his whisper still echo when the witches spit. They gave men the blade, the curse, the fire, taught them secrets of heaven. Now the stars conspire. The flood came down, but the blood remained. Now we fight in the spirit, holy war in the brain. Sons of God, daughters of men, Nephilim rose. Now they walk again, from the waters to the woods to the beast within. This war's been raging since original sin. When sons of God, daughters of men, giants fell once. Now they whisper and win. From the Enoch scrolls to the last amen. We fight in the shadows with a two. I spit apocalypse codes like I'm John on Patmos. Eyes flame red with the verse that'll slap ghosts. Rap host of the seraphim, armor-clad sentinel. I walk through dimensions where the spirits ain't gentle. Jubilees told it, Jasher too. Cain built cities, but the spirits flew. From Mount Hermon, they dropped in 13s. Packed sign in blood, now they haunt our dreams. They taught enchantments, signs in the skies. Named the constellations and forged man's lies. Now we chase Bigfoot, nah, that's their kin. A remnant left over from Nephilim sin. Dog man in shadows, sirens and lake skin walkers prowling. Shrouded in fakes, but this ain't no fairy tale or D&D quest. This is spiritual war, armored up with the blessed.
You wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, and I play peace.
Ripped from the watchtower, I study the scrolls. Line them with scripture, then I lace up souls. Every demon got a root, every lie got a name. And that serpent still whispering, he ain't changed the game. Lilith in the window, Cain in the mist. But I walk with the lamb, not a fang nor fist. The veil's torn, but the war ain't done. We in the fourth watch now, waiting for the sun. Mark of the beast, digital chains. False light prophets trying to hijack brains. But we bringing out the truth, no sugar, no gloss. Just rugged gospel, nailed to the cross. When sons of God, daughters of men, Nephilim rose. Now they walk again, from the waters to the woods to the beast within. This war's been raged, just original sin. When sons of God, daughters of men, giants fell once. Now they whisper and win. From the Enoch scrolls to the last amen. We fight in the strolls to the two-edged men.
As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man.